feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan your own hands can land.
Man, feeling well, man.
What's your name?
My name is Cardi Cornish.
And you a legend?
I'm a legend.
You're a legend here in Baltimore City. Where we at right now?
We live in the 17, Pennsylvania Avenue. The legendary Pennsylvania Avenue.
Man, the last time I saw you here, you were doing something just across the street here. What were you doing?
Oh yeah, I had some food left over from an event. We brung it out. We fed a couple of people, man.
Why you do that?
Nice soul food.
Why you do that?
Man, the love that God has shown me in Christ, man, it overflows. That's how it overflows.
Yes, sir.
We got more than we can.
Already was high within San Antonio Winchester community, but the age group is getting younger. Children under the age of 18 being murdered in San Antonio has a high peak right now. So our goal is to catch the children.
You going hard, man. You going hard on that man today. So what do you think, Mr. Mayor? You got manufacturing right here, helping our young people despite all of the challenges in the city of Baltimore, right here on North Avenue.
Nah, it's really about the growth. Just knowing being there when they were down in Fort Covington and seeing how far it's grown. Like you said earlier, like getting the Sorbet, you know, where we got the Sorbet at the beginning, but now being able to, when I'm at Cannon Yards, get it, or anytime I'm down at Harbor Place to get it, and folks to not even know, but they gonna know now that like this is coming from young people in West Baltimore, right there in West Baltimore on North Avenue, where they think nothing great comes from, but they can see it with the young people.
If you work for it, it's only worth it if you work for it.
Here on the Pike, Mississippi, down right there, French Ford Mathis. Beautiful town, just leaving Algiers, which is an update 10 years since Katrina. The news before. All right, y'all, this is what I came to New York for. Besides the Black Wall Street Awards, we're going in here and get some of this real good jerk chicken. Johnny Glover, out.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me.
But we need to feed our loved ones. Docs needs to rescind this package policy program so that our loved ones are able to eat every day in that filthy facility.
We have some stars in the building.
I feel like no one takes it.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover, in it to win it for the long haul, baby. Listen, one of the greatest things you can do in your industry, whatever it should be, dancing, being an author, running a company, being an engineer, one of the greatest things you can ever do is pass the ball, especially in our community. A lot of times we see in our community where people just hold the ball too long and they don't pass the ball. Bounce pass, bounce pass, pass the ball. Let somebody else get something. I could name a number of organizations where they've had the same leader for the past 15, 20 years. Pass the damn ball. It's like I had two supervisors. I had one supervisor when I first started writing. And that supervisor was real tight, just stingy. Gave me the worst review I've ever gotten in my life. It said he thinks he's a better writer than he actually is. I'm like, damn, are you supposed to be encouraging? This is supposed to be an empowerment type of program. The second supervisor Totally the opposite. And what I came to realize is that when you have self-actualized people, people who have realized their own potential, those people are best suited to pass the ball because they've soared. I'm in Africa, Middle East, White House, Harriet Tubman's house up in upstate New York, seen a thing or two. And it is imperative that I do what my parents taught me to do, which is pass the ball. Today, our special guest is none other than Stephanie Henderson. She developed a wanderlust, and she's going to explain that for me because I have no idea what a wanderlust is for the world of words. And I'm all about words. I've been writing since I was 6 years old. First love letter. I won't even tell you who it was to. At a young age. Over the past 20 years, that passion developed into advocacy for adult literacy, digital equity, and books and their creators. With those three pillars in mind, our guest, Stephanie M. Henderson, shout out to her mama. I know she's watching. Stephanie founded Books and Bounty, a publishing and product management service specializing in optimizing production and operations for small publishers. That would be me. Nonprofit organizations, and scholarly content or title management teams with meticulous quality assurance, best practices, and inclusive accessibility standards adaptable to proprietary guidelines and technology. Books and Bounty can help you produce uncompromising content and publications and optimize digital solutions. Without further ado, Stephanie Henderson, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Doni. Good morning, everyone.
Your mama's name what? Gwen?
Yes, her name's Gwen, and hi, Mom. She's definitely watching right now.
Tell them how we first met.
So Doni and I first met, oh goodness, over 20 years ago, but about almost 20 years ago to the T, if we count this past summer, during a junior high school year summer internship. So back then,
the Empowerment Zone.
That was with the Empowerment Zone. It was a Baltimore Youth Work sponsored position. And I had already had some interest in, I'd written for my high school newspaper, my middle school newspaper. I wrote plays with Center Stage. I wrote my own creative writing in poetry. And my mom, again, shout out to Gwen Rose out there, was awesome in just exposing me to things and allowing me to really invest in my interests. And so when the internship came about, I was extremely excited. It was a paid internship, and I still to this day will count that as my first step into my professional publishing career. And I owe that to Doni in the Empowerment Zone. I met Doni. You were just this huge ball of energy and bravado and unapologetically Black man that the first of your kind that I had encountered in my youth, right? To be up and close and personal and professional or academic or even some sort of mentorship setting. And I was immediately attracted to it. I had all these thoughts of what it meant to be Black, a Black woman, how to get into politics and advocacy. But at 17, I didn't know what to do. I didn't even have necessarily the vocabulary to express all the things that I was feeling. And so when we met, and I think you saw that sort of spark and passion in me, and you really took me under your wing. You just said, you're not just going to do the pencil pushing and getting us coffee. I did a little bit of that too as an intern. But you put me in front of leaders at the Afro. I had my first op-ed cover story in the Afro in high school. I was on the radio. Shout out to Radio 1, 92Q, and not 92Q. We were on 1010 WOLB in the mornings on Tuesdays, and got to see how the business of storytelling on radio worked. And you really let me see that, you know, I just didn't need a byline. Like there were so many more careers in the world of words, in writing, in publishing, other than having that byline, other than being an author or writer. And although I do think I'm talented in that area, I really thrive and I really get excited about the business of publishing, and seeing that creation from the raw materials, a manuscript, words, copy, to be published as an article, turn into a coveted, distributable, mass read product. And that has been sort of the trajectory of my career since.
Can you tell me some of the places that we went?
Excuse me, I didn't hear that again, Doni.
Can you tell me some of the places that we visited that summer?
Oh, I'm trying to think. I mean, we were all over the city. We were in City Hall a lot. Any sort of political forum or engagement. I think O'Malley was up then. I got to interview him.
Did we go to the Baltimore Sun?
Huh?
Did we go to the Baltimore Sun?
We went to the Baltimore Sun. We went to the Afro. Where else did we go?
Morgan State.
We went to Morgan. We even, I think, saw some of the archives. It's Maryland Historical Society now, but there was 2 organizations and they've joined together. But we were able, so it in you saying that, it just reminds me that it not only sparked, and it was a catalyst in my career, but it really let me know how interested and enlightened me to a lot of my own history in Baltimore, as a Black person in Baltimore, and really allowed me to sort of ask more questions to my family. My extended family is heavily involved in the politics of Baltimore for generations. And so I already knew a lot about the history, particularly Black history in Baltimore, but just being able to sort of go into the archives of the Afro, talk to leaders at the Sun, talk to political leaders at that time, really drove home sort of my personal history with the sort of wider history of Baltimore. So again, that summer was a splash, a deep dive into what Stephanie would be years to come.
I was telling my people last night that we had a van and we had a driver, right?
Yep. And I was the driver often. Was I the driver all the time? I'm trying to remember. This is really stretching my memory here. And I think we had to go pick up a couple people from the airport. I had just gotten my license, a year earlier than that.
So fast forward to your life working for a new Baltimore news outlet.
Yes. So
how was that experience?
That was actually a really great experience. I will get into the personal, but overall, professionally, it was my first time with a major multi-million-dollar backup startup, right? Backed startup.
And you got to see it up close and personal.
Impersonal. It was a dream of mine. I am blessed and forever grateful. I have made some lifelong colleagues. And that was bringing the premiere, all local, all digital, Baltimore banner, back to my home, bringing local news back home. We can talk about in a minute, Doni, about all the things. I'm sure you've talked about it plenty here. Our qualms and issues with the Sun over the past few decades.
But you
and
were
the
right.
banner.
You were right in the middle. I mean, considering the owner tried to buy the Sun.
Yes.
And then he drafted all of their reporters. He did something like David Trone.
He did.
David Trone couldn't beat you. He would buy your team.
Yeah, and that's what happened. And to
not that that's good or bad, but I'd love to get your take on it. At least your generic public version, because you're saving the rest of it for a book, I imagine.
Yes. Doni, yes. And So my take on it was this. It was someone, the team, I was employee number 13 at the Baltimore Banner. And we started actually in a small office in the original Empowerment Zone offices over there back behind Power Plant Live. So it was ultimately a full circle professional moment for me. And being, so there was at the time when I started, there was the VP of product and there was me, the senior product manager. And it was our duty to develop the roadmap, not and go-to-market strategy, not just for the launch of the Baltimore Banner, but what would be the next 2 to 3 year outlook look like at the Banner when it comes to working closely with all departments. So the newsroom, I was able to stand up our full internal and external operations for customer support and internal support for our writers and reporters. Bring onboarding sponsored content in the right way. Planning out what I now see was something that was sparked in the product team when we first launched. Baltimore Banner just came out with the Baltimore Banner obituaries. That was something we knew was coming, months before we even launched the banner. And so being a part of that startup experience,
And
what we
initially,
call
you were in Hunt Valley.
No, we were downtown. I was remote in Cockeysville. I lived up in Cockeysville at that time, but the Banner's offices have always been in downtown Baltimore City.
Okay.
So, yep, the original offices were again back behind Power Plant Live, in a building back there, and then their permanent home is right down at the pier, next to the aquarium.
How did that feel, Stephanie?
It was awesome. It was I would say it was 95% awesome, but that 5% of it was stress, it was anxiety. Baltimore Banner was in a lot of therapy sessions. But it was because I was so invested. I was so vested in what that could be. And a lot of people know I'm no longer with the Banner. Again, I'm very close with what goes on at the Banner. I'm very close with colleagues. I still maintain a subscription. I will big up the Baltimore Banner all day. Go subscribe. But at the time, the VP is not there. The VP I was under, a VP of product, is not there as well. But he made a note, and I don't know if it was a premonition or something else. But oftentimes the energy, the skills, the knowledge that is on the startup team, especially with us, we had the energy and grit of a startup, but we had the back investment of a well-oiled machine, right? So oftentimes the group to start up an organization is not necessarily the group that's going to scale it. Things change, leaderships change. And I had some ideology conflicts with some of the folks in the C-suite at that time. The CEO for the Banner is at launch is no longer the CEO for the Banner going forward. So there's that. But it was an eye-opening experience. I gained a lot of skills and honed a lot of skills I already had in my tool belt rapidly. And it was an experience that it will always stay in the forefront of my mind when it comes to launching, from the smallest correction of an implementation for a CRM to implementing a full CMS for a small publisher. There are some things that I will always take handy with me from that experience.
What advice would you have for BeMoreNews.com?
I would say for BeMoreNews.com, keep growing your niche. Doni, you have a growing audience, an audience that has been with you from the beginning, that continues to spread the word throughout the world. You have a guerrilla organization, and so I would say, like, keep hold of that, right? And spread it. Keep hold of that. Spread your engagement. One thing I would like to see from Doni, and I love to see more of, is your engagement online and getting folks back to BeMoreNews.com, because as we know, and as a publisher yourself, as a journalpreneur in Black digital media, you know how folks these days, especially my folks, my age, millennials and younger, we don't get our news by a routine morning or evening, a regular morning or evening routine. Back in the day, you would make your coffee and sit down with your newspaper in the morning, and you would talk about it. Your wife or you or someone else would be making dinner and breakfast. The kids would be running around, and someone's reading the paper. The paper's around, and you're talking about it, right? And so now, a lot of the times, we are getting our news from social media, yeah, or online, right? We are clicking the links, and so I want to see
Janet
more
Jackson,
links.
I don't know what she watching.
Huh?
I don't know what Janet Jackson watching.
Nothing. Not a daggone thing. I don't know why it opened up her mouth, but I also oftentimes I don't know why we put the bullhorn for people speaking on politics in certain aspects of the culture that just have no wherewithal about it. Like that's not Janet's forte. I get it, and sometimes we don't always need to ask those questions.
I'm gonna put this out there for you as it relates to covering Baltimore news. Can out-of-state people tell the Baltimore story?
No. No. And let's talk about that, because we were talking about the banner. Now, I'll give this about the banner.
I didn't say them.
No, banner, news, anything. We can talk about it. We can talk about it, because at the banner, I do know at least 80% or more of the reporting staff there is from Baltimore or the surrounding area, right?
I think that's important.
That is extremely important. My favorite reporter there, shout out to Jasmine Vaughn Hall. She's a great storyteller, especially for West Baltimore neighborhoods.
I took her on a tour.
What'd you say?
I took her on a tour.
Yes, Jasmine is awesome. She's a great storyteller.
You're not just gonna come here and not get a tour. I need to show you what we see on a daily basis. And I introduced her to the man on the street, to the woman on the street, the everyday person. You will not write about my neighborhood without meeting these people, because it's totally different than what the mainstream portrays. These are sometimes educated people, homeowners, business owners. But if you listen to the mainstream perspective, it's Sandtown. So it's just dope, coke, and Ready Rock. It's just killers. It's just recidivism. It's just asthma. It's just diabetes. And it's so much more. This is one of the most, and it's a safe community.
So much more.
But she took me up on the challenge, and I got mad respect. She got a baby now, right?
Yep, just had a baby. Congratulations to her and her growing family.
But she took the time. So many times, let me tell you, Stephanie, people want to come here and they want to do the fly-by-night thing.
Yep.
The Salvation Army, that's another entity. They wanted to come here. They wanted to meet the people. I said, well, you meet me down here at 10 p.m.
And I remember that's what I told people at the banner. I told the reporters, I told
10 p.m.
is that, Doni is a connector in this city. And if you want to make moves and shake the right hands, then you definitely, I remember I had to connect you with people at the banner. Like I felt there was no way. Like they had to know you. They had to know the boots on the ground that are already telling the stories in Baltimore. And back to bemorenews.com, I want to see more of your links online. Like I want to see more of your core readers sharing and engaging in your work, and how do we get your links out to the people that matter, right? And I think the banner, one thing they did when I watched that grow, and one of the things I learned is their digital campaign strategies, their digital content strategies and content management strategies around how they pushed their articles. Oh, goodness gracious. There were some nights where we were just in there working hard. And I think Be More News is in Doni Glover's name is known. Baltimore City, we love you. But I want to see more of you online. Like, I want to see Doni everywhere. I want to see more of this.
Yeah,
I'm
but
watching your TikToks all the time.
Stephanie, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
It is. Yes, yes, sir.
And as I get older, there's a quote that sticks with me. It says, "Every horse is outstanding in his own field."
Mm-hmm.
I can't run with the banner. I can't run with the brew. I can't run with the Sun or WBL TV radio. I have to run at my pace. You ever see The Running Man in Baltimore?
Yes. And that's the thing. And you're doing something totally different from them too. You know what I mean? And I think that
I will say this. Let me just interject this one thing. And you mentioned journalpreneur. I did a study, and the one thing that we have at Be More News that no other Black news outlet has, we have over 7,000 YouTube videos.
Yes, and that's what I was about to say.
We have with no other, and I've looked at the St. Louis American, I've looked at the Afro, and we're so in other areas, but we beat some of the big boys with a lot more money, a much bigger staff, and
and that's what I mean. Your content,
you can't kill yourself trying to be somebody else. I remember that from day one.
And you told me that.
Yeah, there's a huge promoter in Baltimore, LaRon Finney. Yeah. And when I first started, I used to help him all the time. Then I started my company, and I had to remind myself, you're not Finney. Don't do what he does. I'm a writer. Play to your strengths. Yep. Do what makes you unique and keep it fun. Okay, I rest my case.
Yeah, amen to that. And I was going to say, with your digital presence, is that you have so much content. Like, talking about archiving Baltimore story, especially when it comes to the politics in Baltimore, the money going in and out of Baltimore, the politics, socioeconomics in the city. The content you have is like, it's like a digital museum. Look at me and my brain's churning. It really the like you said, you mentioned your digital content online, your written content. I mean, it's spanning almost 3 decades now, Doni. And yeah, there's so much that you have put out there telling Baltimore stories, and digging into that digital archive you have I think you have something there. We were talking about it in Journalpreneur and all that, but you have something there that I think I'm interested to see the next evolution of Be More News and what that means, particularly for Baltimore. Like, Be More News as a column of content, integrity, and storytelling, our story. What that will look like in the upcoming decade or so, because I think they're going to be some big things.
We beat some cats who have a lot more people on their staff and a lot more maybe fiscal resources. We spank them every day.
Every day.
I have to stay true first to myself. Well, first to God, to do right by God, and then by myself. Do right by myself, treat myself right, eat right, get rest, make sure you go to sleep, and then make sure you help somebody. And one other thing, I'm going to quote Bill Cosby. He said, "I don't know the key to success." He said, "But I know the key to failure is trying to please everybody."
True. And honestly, I had to take a look at my own, and I'm looking at the last couple of years of my own career, and I had to think about that. Like with the banner, that was again something that I was vested in, but it was consuming my life, right? And Doni, you know this about me. I'm extremely close with my family. I have a teenager who's junior year of high school. My mom and my boyfriend, we are all very close. And the banner was starting to consume me in a way that was not
Healthy.
positive. It was not making me grow. And I think, remember, I was employee number 13. By the time we got to employee number 100, it was sort of, where do I fit in? And I was struggling with that. And I was struggling with that with at the time. And I had to make my exit for personal reasons.
Yeah. Let me say this to you. If you don't build your own dream, because you have the entrepreneurial spirit, I know you get it, and I know your mama helped put it in you. If you don't build your dream, someone will hire you to build theirs.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
From the very beginning, if there's nothing you learn from me, I hope it was get your own.
Yeah, and you've been driving that home with me, especially for the last 5 years. And when you found out I was doing the banner, and you kept asking me, when are you going to do your thing? When are you writing your book? When are you? And it's a big leap. It takes such a leap of bravery.
It does.
And
but you won't find no peace anywhere else.
And that's
because
exactly.
It'll always be in the back of your head. What if I would have?
And that's where I was feeling the back of that voice in the back of my mind was just coming to the forefront. And even in this past year, I was working with the Chronicle of Higher Education. I kept saying to myself, like, I don't, this is not my right path. There's more for me out there. I had so many ideas of what I wanted to see. There were so many connections I wanted to make in my city around media and digital advocacy. And I just didn't have the time, because I was giving all of that to someone else, to another organization. And I think, God works in mysterious ways, but about a month. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, about a month ago, I was let go from that position, laid off during a workforce reduction. I had an experience, publishing, restructuring. It happens more often than what you think. I hadn't been through this sort of interruption to my career for, almost 15, 10, 15 years. So, but I took the time to reassess. And I said, and although, money has to come in, you got to make money somehow. So the applications are out there. But ultimately, my focus right now are all on those big ideas. And that's how Books and Bounty was born. I have always freelanced in editorial production and consultation since out of high school. But this is the time where I'm considering it, my moment. And I really want to focus on helping, publishers like you, Doni, helping other editors and book influencers in the world, networking with folks in the city, and getting in front of people who are part of the digital advocacy effort. Shout out to Brandon Scott's new initiative. Well, it's a long-term initiative, but they have recently partnered with Enoch Pratt Free Library for digital literacy and access programs. So, I can't do that if I'm waiting on someone else to sign my paychecks. And so that's where Books and Bounty was born. I'm taking all of the skills and experiences over the past 2 decades, and using that to help small publishers, newsrooms, and content management teams, and putting my skills. Like I said, I learned at a young age that I thrive in the business of publishing, and so now we're here, and that's the next step is Books and Bounty.
What's next?
So right now at Books and Bounty, we are hunting leads for short and long-term contracts, and ranging from full book and content development to copy editing and proofreading production contracts. And I am also currently providing consultation for implementation for content management systems or title management systems for small teams. So, check out booksandbounty.com, where you can see some of my own professional experiences. You get to learn more about me and some of the things we're doing at Books and Bounty. And as part of that effort, we are growing our social media presence. and creating a virtual world of curated bookish things, people, and events. I have some of that here we can talk about. But it's really of a sort of a vision of a boutique management experience for small publishers. And that's what I am trying to build. And the next step here at Books and Bounty is sort of getting the word out and growing that online presence.
So
There we
what
go.
the heck is bounty? What does bounty? I think a bounty hunter, locking
So
people up.
bounty
How
to
in
me,
the world did you come up with books and bounty?
it's a few different things. So I, of course, like the alliteration of it all, right? And I'm thinking like, I don't want it to be just about books and reading. Like I want it to be about all the things that are around that. Like I am a bookish person. I like to talk to authors. I want to go to all the reading events. I want to go to Comic Con. I like casual gaming, right? And being around those like-minded people and events, that sort of culture around reading, literacy, and books, that's the bounty of it all. And when it comes down to the business, uh, books is the sort of the publishing, the content management part of Books and Bounty. When Bounty is all of the talent that I want to bring along. My partner in life, my boyfriend Raphael Lewis, known as Raph Bayless online, is a streaming and gaming talent. So is my teenager. And so Bounty really is supposed to be the um, sort of cornucopia of products and content that you will get out of this company. So much more to come. We have a growing Discord community. All platforms are Books and Bounty.
A growing what?
Where a Discord server. So it's basically a highfalutin chat room. It's like chatting on steroids, right? I actually have my chat room open and chatting with people in Discord now. I built a AI chat bot. Her name is B, the bookworm, and I'm building a bit of her buddies. But she is one of our first AI characters from Books and Bounty, who you will run into throughout our virtual experiences. And for example, she
Wow.
is now running the show in our Discord server, talking about our show right now, hopefully. and um, and so you can join the Discord.
What
Any
can
of
we do to help you?
this things like this, Donnie. You know, Donnie heard the call, found out that I was stepping into my own, and immediately put forth action to spread the word. So follow us on TikTok, Instagram, all the social media, Books and Bounty. Check out booksandbounty.com, share the website. I am on LinkedIn as Stephanie M. Henderson, where you can look at some of my professional recommendations and check out my own network. So please share, spread the word. Like I said, we are hunting leads right now in contracts for copy editing, proofreading, and full book development.
When is your first event?
My first event will be, I'm not going to be hosting a table, but we'll be there with our camera and our notepad at the Baltimore Book Festival next Saturday down in Waverly. So right there, I think at 31st and Barclay, but you all guys know right where the farmers market is down there, all throughout the Waverly
Well,
neighborhood.
you're going to have to come back.
Mhm.
You're going to have to come back. I mean, we're going to have a little meeting so that we can maximize that opportunity.
Yes, definitely. Let's talk about that because
I
it's
mean, books
Baltimore
is your thing. That's next week. Now, this is not the one that's down at the Peabody.
No, this is the one that's in Waverly on Saturday and Sunday.
Next Saturday and Sunday.
This one, 28th and 29th.
Oh.
Yes,
Did
this
not
Saturday.
know. Did not know.
Yeah, if you check out Promo Arts online, City Lit Project, Enoch Pratt is a sponsor. I have posts about it on my pages. But yes, Baltimore Book Festival, I've attended every year. I will now be there representing Books and Bounty. We'll be mic'd up and have the camera live on Books and Bounty TV. You can check that out on Twitch and other channels.
I want to know what your first event is going to be.
That is something that, Doni, we probably have to talk about. I have not thought about what my first organized event will be.
What?
I haven't. I am literally, when I talk about Doni, everything started going up in live maybe 2.5 to 3 weeks ago. So, as
There's
Doni
no
has
time
always
like the present. We need a Books and Bounty festival.
a Books and Bounty festival. Oh, wow. You know, let's talk. Let's talk about that, because I've been thinking about what a first event could look like. I actually would like it to be in conjunction with some of the local booksellers and bookstores. I usually buy most of my books if I can find them. I even have my bookseller. Snug Books is the closest local bookstore to me. That and Dreamers and Make Believer.
Have you ever
Dreamers and
been
Make
to Everyone's Place? Didn't I take you guys there?
took us there, and
Nazi sells over $1 million in books every year.
what? Who's that?
Everyone's Place.
Oh yes,
He sells over $1 million in books every year.
I did not
Quiet
know
as a
that.
cat.
I'm gonna have to loop back around to him, but I want to do something with the bookstores, either a campaign or event. It's something even every year for the holidays. I make it a point, like especially for my colleagues, to get books, to get
And
presents
look,
from local booksellers.
Nazi is like a block from Penn North.
Yep, and it's just been sort of like I've been telling everybody who can hear. There's been sort of a renaissance when it comes to brick and mortar bookshops in Baltimore and the surrounding area. You have hold on one second. I want to get her name right, because I want to give her
I'll be forever loyal to Nati. Nati has been nothing but love. And I'm talking about 35 years or so. I remember when Nati was selling incense at Penn North, and now he's one of the largest book distributors in the world. Nati.
So I wanted to. So there's booksellers, bookshops. My teen is really into comic books. They'll be curating a series for Books and Bounty on comics books. I can talk about next about what we're focusing on our series right now. But Drama Mama Books, see, that's a Baltimore row home, creates custom journals. Black owned journal printing shop in Baltimore. Would love to work with her. But speaking of the shops and comic books, at Books and Bounty, every month or season, we focus on a new genre.
So you should have a show on this network.
Yeah, we could. I mean, Donnie Glover show times Books and Bounty.
No, your own show, Books and Bounty on BlackUSA.News.
Yes, definitely. We want to, what I'm trying to do right now is go live at least once or twice a week. And as I mentioned earlier,
we have to have you on our network. We have to. And you can stream to Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube.
I want it on your network. I want it on Black USA. I want it on.
That's how you do it.
Yes, I want it on your network, and definitely, we talk about our network. I stand corrected, Doni.
Special thank you to Michael Haney. We have a network of people who make sure that no matter what, this engine doesn't go down. Me and Michael Haney, you might see us fighting at any time, but this network, nothing but love. Nobody's messing it up. And listen, in this latest book, one of the things I look at is the history of the Black press.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we think we're smart. What is the first Black newspaper?
Ida B. Wells. Oh gosh,
1827, March 16th, Freedom's Journal came out. John Russ Worm, Samuel Cornish, New York City. That's what we think. We think the first Black newspaper was Freedom's Journal. But I said Black newspaper. And Black people ain't just in America. Black people all over the world.
There you go.
The first Black newspaper was in Sierra Leone.
Huh? You learning me something today, Doni?
The second black newspaper was in Haiti. Freedom's Journal, according to Journalpreneur, is the third black newspaper. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with Bill.
I'm just taking some notes. I want to look out the ones in Sierra Leone and Haiti later on. I know about the Freedom Journal.
It's in the book. And let me tell you, we make the assumption that black writers only speak English.
No. Well, I sold my oats in publishing with authors whose English was not their native tongue.
What I mean is South America has so many black writers whom we've never even heard of.
Let me give you one. Good book.
Because we're parochial. We're American. We speak English, and we figure everything fits into that paradigm.
So Itamar Vieira Jr. is Afro-Brazilian, one of the premier voices in Brazilian literature.
See, we're so limited. Brazil has the lot. If there's 40 million black people in the U.S., there are 100 million black people in Brazil.
Oh, or more.
And that's just on how they're counting the one drop rule and all of this stuff. Arturo Schomburg, the Schomburg Museum in New York, Latino. There's so much history that we just don't know. And so I'm really excited about where you want to go. So take some time. I want you to take some time and do your sales pitch. Okay, you ready? You get the screen all to yourself. You ready?
All right. Well, guys, thank you for joining the Doni Glover Show and Books and Bounty this morning. I wanted to give you a little pitch about Books and Bounty. We are a boutique publishing and product management service that specializes in optimizing production and operations for small publishers, unique title management or content management teams, and nonprofit organizations. That means we specialize from full book consultation and content development down to copy editing and proofreading. And, you know, Doni asked earlier why Books and Bounty. We wanted to express how books and reading sort of sprout a cornucopia of inspiration and knowledge and creativity, and to sort of make up a virtual world of curated bookish things, people, and events. So right now, our format and our content online is focused around a series of genres. Going into the fall season, we are focusing on fantasy, horror, science fiction. And with the founding and start of Books and Bounty, we're doing a giveaway right now. Tomi Adeyemi is a premier voice in Black fantasy and sci-fi fiction. Paramount actually a couple years ago bought the film rights to her Legend of Orisha series, particularly Children of Blood and Bone, which is the first one. They started casting this summer. So we're doing a giveaway as part of that to our first 50 followers who follow us on Twitch, as well as join our Discord server so you can start chatting about all things books. So the first 50 followers on both will get a full set of the trilogy series. So make sure to check out booksandbounty.com. It has all the links where you can follow us and get to know me and other folks here at Books and Bounty. And I hope you check us out soon.
Very good. And you know, the more you do it, the better you get. We got to get we got to do some collaboration there, Stephanie.
Okay.
So tell me about your mom's. How is she receiving this entrepreneurial powerhouse of a daughter?
Mom is excited and nervous, right? Because I've had a pretty comfortable career for the last, few years or so, and it's been steady rising. Mom actually moved in with me. Mom retired almost 6 or 7 years ago. Moved in with me a couple years after that, and even going through the banner, people could see what you see, Doni. Like, my mom is the fuel to my tank. And what I say in my bio is that she's my forever editor. She reads everything before you guys do. Like if most things if I don't get it in front of her, then it's probably going to be a mistake. So who's the editor? That's my mom. And so she's excited, but she's nervous because I've been comfortable. We've been comfortable, you know. But she's excited. She knows I can do it. She sees the spirit in me that, you know, she has nurtured all of her life. My mom was a communications major herself up at Morgan. So she's excited. She's Gwen at booksandbounty.com. If you want to get at mom, she's helping me with all things admin. So you may get some emails back from Gwen at booksandbounty.com.
We got to get
And
you.
I'm Steph at booksandbounty.com.
We got to get you some testimonials up and online too. Some people, you know, like your first clients is nothing like the testimonials and the word of mouth. Also, we'd like to recognize you with the Joe Mann's Black Wall Street Award on October the 9th.
Thank you so much, Doni. Thank you. That is an honor. It is a welcome, surprising honor. And I can't wait to meet all you there on October 9th.
We celebrate Black entrepreneurs and professionals, as well as the people who support them, regardless of race. We've recognized over 2,700 individuals in 9 major U.S. cities: New York, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Richmond, Atlanta, New Orleans, Las Vegas, Birmingham, and Tulsa. Mm-hmm. The goal is to help preserve national Black Wall Street history and to inspire entrepreneurship beginning in our community. And of course, I wrote a book on the topic, I Am Black Wall Street. I really got to work on my promo on here. I'm not all of that great at promoting. I can promote everybody else, but I'm struggling when it comes to promoting myself. But I will tell you that Black Wall Street wasn't just in Tulsa. Black Wall Street didn't even start in Tulsa. It actually started in Florida.
Yep.
And it's a national history. It's a national understanding that there have always been entrepreneurs in our community. Always. Long before we even got here. We've always, I mean, come on now. And that's what I love about books, the history. There's so much history we don't know about our ancestors. We are descendants from greatness.
Greatness.
Baltimore Banner wouldn't be where it is if it weren't for people like you in the very beginning.
Oh no, not at all.
I never opened a newspaper, but I opened a bunch of restaurants, and I can tell you, it's that initial crew, because you like the Marines, first one in. You set the tone that other people have to later either follow or change, but you're the first ones in. And there's something special about that.
Thanks, Doni. And it, you know, you were noting about the books and the history of our city, and you asked at the beginning of this show, wanderlust, and what does that mean? So I want to go back to that because books for me were my outlet. You know, small, you know, young Black girl growing up in a hood, city by the sea, as Nina Moan says on her song Baltimore. It was sometimes it was difficult to dream from my little hill, like what was out there, you know, and, you know, having folks like you in my life was such a blessing and such luck, to have someone who wants to expose a young Black person to all that they have interest in, right? That I think that is one of the main things and why I'm so much for digital equity and advocacy, because for me, it was books. For young people today, it's the internet. Like, how do you travel? How do you learn if all you have are your 4 small walls of your row home, right? How do you expose yourself to the possibilities? And for me, that was books. I traveled through books. You know, my fancy friends in their classes would come home for summers from Europe, and I'd be like, oh, well, I read about it. I can still talk with them just as much because I read all about it. And still, you know, stand in the room with such cultured and traveled people because I had traveled with books, and that's the wanderlust. It sparked that sort of ever, you know, that forever thirst for knowledge and information, and expansion of the mind, and I think that is the wanderlust that I point out, that sparked my career in the world of words. And it's funny because it's a white British author who sparked that in me at 8-year-old Stephanie. I read Roald Dahl's Matilda. And if you think about it, I only started reading a few years prior to that. But that book, it was one of my first chapter books. And I read Matilda. I have my first edition. The cover is all torn up and everything. I've reread it maybe 8, 10 times. It was the first time that I identified with a character in a book, and I ran with that. And I said, if I can make a little girl feel like this, then this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. At 8, it was a writer. But again, like I said earlier in the show, having folks like Doni expose me to all the things that are part of the world of words, part of that wanderlust that I have, that didn't just have to be a
What the hell
byline.
is wanderlust?
Wanderlust is I'm going to pull up the full definition, but it's the act of wanting to wander. It's the wandering about of the world, seeking knowledge, seeking information, trying to find new things. A man consumed by wanderlust. So I am a woman consumed by wanderlust for words. Like, I travel through the world of words. And I want to ultimately, through this business, and the partnerships that I make a little girl feel like I did that day. Hopefully I've already done it. I don't know, but I know that is the ultimate goal, is that I want to leave this world making little girls, especially little Black girls, feel the way I felt, had sparked that wanderlust in them for knowledge, and knowing about the world.
Anything you'd like to add? Anything we didn't cover?
I think that's it. Again, support your local booksellers, support Enoch Pratt Free Library, hands down one of the best organizations in this city. And check out booksandbounty.com. Mm-hmm.
Have you ever met Carla Hayden?
Carla Hayden was my boss for almost 2 years. She actually is the bookish person that we're featuring in the Book and Bounties online and digital series for the next week or so, up until actually we'll start a new bookish thing person and event next week after the book festival. But leading up to the book festival, my bookish thing is your library card, which is free in Baltimore City and free in Baltimore County. My bookish event is come see me wandering around at the Baltimore Book Festival in Waverly this weekend. And my bookish person is Dr. Carla Hayden, who is the 14th Librarian of Congress. She is the first Black Librarian of Congress, and she is the first woman Librarian of Congress. And she is one of my mentors and my old boss. So I'm proud to say that about Dr. Hayden. And what I will always say about Dr. Hayden in my time at the library under her leadership is that I have never seen an organization that was so focused, laser focused on the same goals, same strategy, same day to day than what she did at that library, at the library. I mean, from the janitorial staff, from the folks working down in the book staff, all the way up to the VP and the C-suite of developers and head of design. Like, everybody was on that same page. They all looked up to her. They all looked at her with such admiration. And to be in that experience,
smooth like that.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
she was smooth like that
entirely. I mean, to be, and just talking about all this, the gratitude I've had for the leadership I've seen from Black people and Black women has been amazing. And Dr. Hayden is one of them. Like, to be able to conduct that ship and run that ship in the way that she did, I am not surprised she's a Librarian of Congress. I could not see anyone else who could to protect and tell the story of our nation more so than Dr. Carla Hayden.
Stephanie Henderson, you need your own show. I'm pretty convinced of that.
Well, hopefully you guys will see me here more on Black USA Network and with Doni Glover and others.
No question. I'm proud of you. Tell your mama hello, and peace to you and yours.
Peace to you too, Doni. Thanks so much for having me.
Up to date, Dan Amar, do your day and everything will follow. Nothing to it but to do it. I got to do it, regardless of how I feel. I am somebody. I am my brother's keeper. Good morning, world.